Chapter 12. From Gatherers to Producers. Let's learn. Farming and Domestication of Animals. Evidences, pottery, tools, burials, paintings. The Chalcolithic Age. Invention of wheel. Daily life of Neolithic man. After leading a nomadic life for thousands of years, humans gradually began to settle down to live in one place. This process started during the New Stone Age around 10,000 years ago. Many new developments and inventions during this time changed the course of life of the early humans. Producing food. We have read that plants and animals were used as food. Men, women and children probably observed several things. The places where edible plants were found, how seeds broke off the stalks, fell on the ground, and new plants sprouted from them. Perhaps they began looking after plants, protecting them from birds and animals so that they could grow and the seed could ripen. In this way, people became farmers. Wheat and barley were the first grains to be grown by man. Agriculture played an important role in changing the life of early humans. They started leading a settled life. They didn't have to go from one place to another in search of food. They remained in one place and grew crops. They made mud houses near their fields. They cultivated the fields, hunted animals, and made tools and weapons. This shift from gathering food to growing it was a major development. These changes didn't happen rapidly over a few years. Humans adopted and perfected farming over several thousand years. Also, they continued to hunt animals and gather food even after they had started growing crops. Info hive. Even during winters, grains were stored in pots. Herding. Besides cultivating crops, early humans also started domesticating animals. The first animal to be tamed was the wild ancestor of the dog. Later, people encouraged animals that were relatively gentle to come near the camps where they lived. These animals such as sheep, goat, cattle and also the pig lived in herds and most of them ate grass. Often, people protected these animals from attack by other wild animals. This is how they became herders. Info hive. Neolithic man made much efficient tools which were made of basalt and polished to have finer cutting edges. Brain tickler. Why did the early man start taming animals? Invention of the wheel. The invention of the wheel was an important step towards human progress. The first inventor of the wheel is yet not known to anybody in the world. Possibly, a log or a stone rolling downwards sparked this idea. The wheel changed man's life in many ways. People could now go from one place to another much faster than before. They could also move heavy objects more easily. The wheel also improved pottery making. The weavers and potters were the first ones to use wheels for purposes other than transportation. Making pottery. Humans started feeling the need to store grains, liquids and cooked food in containers that needed to be capable of withstanding climatic changes as well. Humans learned to make clay pottery which was shaped by hand and then baked in a fire. The potter's wheel enabled them to make pots of different shapes and size in much lesser time. Later, they started decorating the pots. Evidences. Archaeologists have found many evidences of existence of early farmers. Pet houses. In Burzahom, that is, in present-day Kashmir, people built pit houses, which were dug into the ground with steps leading into them. These pits were usually narrow at the top and wide at the base. Ash, charcoal, and pieces of pottery have been found in these pits. Some of the pits had ovens made of stone or clay. These ovens may have been used to cook food. Such pits may have provided shelter in cold weather. Pottery. Handmade as well as wheel-made pots of different shapes and sizes have been discovered from many sites. Some of them were decorated. The pots could have been used as cooking vessels and to store grain. Tools. Stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Many of these are different from the earlier Paleolithic tools. These include tools such as hand axes, scrapers, borers, cleavers, etc. that were polished to give a fine cutting edge, and mortars and pestles used for grinding grain and other plant produce. Mortars and pestles are used for grinding grain even today. At the same time, tools of the Paleolithic types continued to be made and used, and some tools were also made of bone. Burials. Remains of both human and animal burials have been found. In Burzahom, bones of dogs, cattle, goats, sheep, deer, and many other animals have been found beside human remains. These animals were probably buried with dead humans to serve as food in the next world. Painting. People painted cave walls, rock shelters, and slabs of stone. A stone slab with a hunting scene carved on it, found at Burzahom, became very famous. It shows two hunters hunting a deer. One hunter has a long spear and the other has a bow and arrow.
And for hive. Some caves have been closed for preservation purposes because the carbon dioxide emissions of visitors can damage the paintings.
Daily life. Early humans lived in small groups, led by a leader. Generally, the eldest or the strongest member of the group became the leader. Each person of the group was assigned a specific duty. Some looked after animals, others cultivated fields, and still others made tools and pots. Archaeologists have also found cooking huts both inside and outside the huts, which suggests that, depending on the weather, people could cook food either indoors or outdoors. Once humans began producing things in surplus, they started exchanging these with other groups for mutual benefit. This early form of trade must have taken place through the barter system. Recreational activities like singing, dancing, and painting must have been popular modes of entertainment.
The Chalcolithic Age. Around 6,000 years ago, humans started using copper. Along with stone tools, they made tools of copper which were much stronger than those of stone. Since both stone and copper were used, this period is known as the Chalcolithic Age, that is, Copper-Stone Age. It was relatively short, that is, 4,000–2,000 BCE, but important period in the history of humans because it marked a change from the use of stones to metals.
Brain tickler. How do you think copper got discovered? Customs, practices, and religion.
During the Neolithic and Chalcolithic ages, man began to fear the enormous power of natural phenomena such as thunderstorms, lightning, forest fires, etc., as he could not understand what made them happen. Thus, he began to worship forces of nature like the sun, rain, fire, and thunder. This probably was the beginning of religion. The largest Chalcolithic site in India is in Daimabad, Maharashtra.
Case study. The Northwest. The important sites excavated in the northwest include Mehergarh in Pakistan, Sarai Khola in West Punjab, that is now in Pakistan, and Burzahom near Srinagar in Kashmir. Other sites include Chirand near Patna in Bihar and Chopani Mando in Uttar Pradesh. The excavations in the northwest reveal that the people produced wheat, cotton, etc. and made houses from mud bricks. Probably pottery came into use about 5000 BCE. Evidence has been gathered from Burzahom that rice was grown as early as 6500 BCE. Pit dwellings have been excavated at Burzahom, which reveal that the people dug pits to live in as against living in caves or hunts. They must have done this in order to protect themselves from extreme cold. The Northeast. In the northeast, sites have been excavated in Sarutaru near Guwahati in Assam and Kuchai in Odisha. Small evidences have also been gathered from the Naga Hills, Kachar Hills and Garo Hills. Daojali Hiding is an important Neolithic site in Assam. The excavations in these areas reveal that food gathering and hunting were still in vogue even when the people had started to grow crops of wheat, rice and cotton. Evidences of the domestication of cattle have also been found. They used to polish their stone tools in order to make them stronger and sharper. They hafted their stone tools in wooden handles. Beads made of lapis lazuli, carnelian, agate and white marine shell have been found in burial sites, which suggests that the people wore ornaments and also trade was undertaken in these things. The above study shows that the settlement started to spread in other parts of the Indian subcontinent from the northwest and northeast. Also, long-distance trade was undertaken.
Elsewhere, one of the most famous Neolithic sites, Katel Hayuk, was found in Turkey. Several things were brought from great distances: flint from Syria, cowries from the Red Sea, shells from the Mediterranean Sea, and used in the settlement. There were no carts. Most things would have been carried on the backs of pack animals such as cattle or by people.
Recap. Early humans became food producers during the New Stone Age. They started domesticating animals, invented the wheel and began making pottery for various purposes. Archaeological evidences show the presence of pit houses, various tools and pottery, burial sites and paintings. Once humans began producing things in surplus, they started trading through barter system. The important sites excavated in the northwest include Mehergarh, Saraikola and Burzahom. The excavations in the northeast reveal that food gathering and hunting was still in vogue even when the people had started to grow crops of wheat, rice and cotton. Life skills. Ma'am, why was the wheel invented? The wheel was invented because early man must have felt the need to make this certain task easier. Anyone can invent something to make their tasks easier. Can I also invent something? Sure, Pratik, you can. An invention to be successful must be useful to the masses. Ma'am, I will try to invent something that is of use for everyone.